we opened stupidly on a Friday, like soft open on a Friday, and it was just fucking packed from the start.
Wow.
Yeah.
These people you know, huh?
Yeah, like family, friends, people who heard about it and wanted to come down and check it out, all that sort of stuff. So for like a good, I reckon, I mean, I can't tell you much about the first year, to be honest. It was just like work, so go, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Heart Media Podcast. Today we have Charlie Lehmann, a Sydney pub owner and a bartender. It was a really interesting episode. We had good chats about the pub culture in Sydney in general, alcohol and drinking, work-life balance. We had a really good chat about politics, opinions, expressing all these things online and the cancel culture. We spoke about the ups and downs in running a business and burnouts. Really easy guy to chat to, and we loved it, and we hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.
And it was during that period, that small period there, where like people didn't know, staff didn't know what they were gonna. We didn't know if we're going back to work or not. Essentially,
Right.
And like hospitality, everyone's quite young.
Yeah.
So it was like I can't leave like these 20-year-olds stranded, like while the world is like literally like
They're
while you think the
screwed.
world's ending.
Yeah.
So it was like fuck, I'll just take out the money.
So how many businesses did you have back then?
We had two.
Two
We
of
still
them.
have two. So
Yeah.
Ramblin Rascal and Double Deuce. But
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself,
Yeah.
Charlie? Yeah.
Are we on?
Yeah, let's get
Oh,
into
we're
it.
rolling. Let's
Hey,
do it.
Charlie.
Charlie, yeah.
How do you say your last name?
Lehmann.
Lehmann.
Charlie Lehmann. Yeah.
Yes.
That's simple.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was going a bit fancy on it, putting out Lehmann.
Lehmann.
Nah.
That's Tyrone.
Straight
Loves
up
his
Lehmann.
fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, I am co-owner of Double Deuce Lounge and Ramblin Rascal Tavern in
Great.
Sydney. We've been there at Rascal for 10 years and at Deuce for 5 years. Before that, I worked at the Baxter Inn, Frankie's Pizza, Shady Pines. Before that, I worked at Zeta Bar at the Hilton. And then before that, Marble Bar. This is my whole history, by the way, of hospitality.
Keep dropping it.
Yeah, Marble Bar, probably one of the most beautiful bars in Australia.
Where's that?
It's underneath the Hilton Hotel. The whole place, Marble Bar, it's made of marble.
Right.
It was built in
Nice.
1890.
Wait, it's marble bar and it's made of marble.
And it's made of marble.
Crazy,
Go
huh?
figure. Go
Alright.
figure.
They're changing the game.
But they built that in like, I'm giving a spiel for the Hilton right now.
Drop
They
it.
built it in 1890s.
Hilton sponsor us.
Yeah, right? Yeah, let us drop some cash on it. And at the time, it was, I think that they did the comparison now, it cost like $3 billion to
Three what?
recreate. Yeah.
Say million or billion?
Billion.
$3 billion.
Mate, I might be making those things up, but it's a lot of money compared to, for the
$1 billion.
time that when it was built, because they imported marble from Africa and Romania.
Oh.
Wow, that's
And this is in the
crazy.
How long was
1890s.
it built? Oh, 1890s.
1890s.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a beautiful hotel. Like
Yeah,
an old
yeah,
one.
yeah. It used to be in the old Tattersalls on Pitt Street. in
Yeah.
Sydney.
And did you start your career as a bartender, or how
I
did it all happen?
I was at uni. I think a lot of bartenders or people in hospo, you start out maybe because everyone in hospitality is really, really smart. I don't know if you noticed that. People are quite talented.
Yeah.
But I was at uni and I studied social inquiry and political science essentially, and then I figured out that it'd
What's
be
social inquiry? Sorry.
social inquiry is like sociology.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, so like like pretty much sitting in a bar, pretty much is a great social thing
Yeah.
there that you could like study. But yeah, I was studying that, and then I figured like it'd be more honest work just to serve drinks to people and get them pissed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just doing. I had a job at the Hilton, and I worked there, and like the ins and outs of all that, and I saw the bars, and I was like, "Fuck, this is cool." Like usually, I spend money to go out and drink, and these guys get paid to like be in the places that I go out and spend money. So that
Seems
was
like a smart money move.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up a little bit poor, so like I always had a job. I've always had a job since I was 15. So
Same.
Where did you grow up in?
in Sydney, so I grew up in the inner west, and like I was born in Darlinghurst right in the city near
Yeah.
Surrey Hills and Redfern.
Nice.
I grew up at my nan's house on the back of
So you had to figure out everything by yourself.
Yeah.
In the city.
inner city, yeah,
Okay.
inner west. In the 90s, it was like a massive heroin epidemic in Sydney as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it was pretty
What's
depressing place
beautiful
to be.
about
But it was a very interesting place to be because it was quite the culture
Yeah.
in Sydney was quite vibrant. My nan
Yeah.
lived just off a block away from Oxford Street.
Yeah.
So
you
the
grew up
Mardi
with Nan.
Gras, like the clubs and
Just pumping.
like all of that sort of stuff. Like as a kid, I'd walk down the road with my dad as a kid, and like people would be coming out, like stumbling out of clubs at 10 a.m. and like
Yeah.
still going, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is
Before the
amazing.
lockout.
Crazy.
Yeah, before I would have been like 8.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like, I was young.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, I was always immersed in the Sydney, like, Sydney's home for me. So, and then, drinking culture in Australia is quite
Big.
bit of a
Prominent.
problem. But also, we like to drink. So it's like, growing up around it, my nan threw parties every Saturday.
No
Do you
way.
drink too much?
Do I drink too much? Like sometimes I do, yes.
Yeah.
My hangovers can attest to this.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, being involved like in this industry, you're around the substances all the time. So you have to be wary or really aware of, how much you're drinking and what, and like, how hard you're going at it. When I was younger, it was like gun ho, like
Yeah.
fuck, let's party. But as you get older, you can't sustain that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, as a photographer, I used to do some like nightlife photography or parties, you know what I mean? Like, I used to enjoy it a lot, but just I found it like a little bit not sustainable, you know what I mean?
Man, I tell people this,
Yeah.
like hospitality or just nightlife jobs
Yeah.
is not everyone's built for it. Sort
Yeah.
of thing. So you do have to. Routine is like so important.
Yeah.
So how do you like find that? Like,
That's a
if
good
you're
question,
working at
man.
night time, you know what I mean? Like,
After I turn people do say this, but when you turn 30, your body changes, and like your 20s is like, I always say you should party and have a good time, be safe, but like go out and do all the things that that should be a little bit taboo or frowned upon. 2
Cheer
days,
up.
stay awake for 2 days and drink with all your mates in the backyard,
Yeah.
whatever. But as you get older, you're either you fall into the category of being a drunk, or you're like, hey, I need to maybe
little bit
change my
less.
lifestyle a little
Yeah.
bit. You
It starts to
know?
become a little less cool. Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Oh no, yeah, exactly. Like
True.
you don't need to get totaled on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Like I don't drink at home either. So
Yeah.
like there's active ways of like sustaining your longevity in the industry, but it's like doing it. It starts at home,
yeah.
and then yeah.
Are you in the venues yourself?
Yeah,
often?
I've got to actually after here fly home and go to work.
Cool.
Oh,
Yep.
cheers. Okay.
So you're there getting down dirty. But you seem like the type of person that would enjoy that
Yeah.
bar scene, connecting with people,
Yeah.
serving them drinks.
Yeah, there's always something interesting that comes in, and like even as I've gotten older, you do get a bit jaded with stuff, but that's just life, right? People get jaded, but yeah, it's real. I find it really interesting. You get your regulars, and then you get like international guests coming back now after COVID and shit.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
there's always something or
Yeah.
someone with a good story.
Back to the start. So you were working for other people, like worked with the Baxterine, etc. How did you decide to start your own business? Coming from a poor background, it's a massive decision. It's something you're probably not used to think.
No.
How did it happen?
Well, my two business partners and friends, Cosmo Soto and Darden Shevashids. Still business partners, still mates, yeah, surprisingly.
Cool.
We all worked together at the Baxter Inn together and Swill House. And I believe it was just a drunken conversation one night. Hey, well, you reckon we can do this?
Love that.
Yeah, I reckon we can do it. All right, let's do this.
Let's
and then we were
fucking do
like,
it.
so we had the idea in our heads and we seeded it. And then little bit by little bit worked towards like opening something or like a plan. And then we told our bosses, Anton and Jason at the time, and they were fully supportive. They were like, yeah, absolutely, you should definitely go.
Amazing.
Yeah, do that. Anton actually found us the site that we opened Rascal on.
Wow.
And he's like, just
Are these the
So
guys
special.
from Swill House?
yes, yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So yeah, he's the co-owner of Swill House still. And
Still.
he found,
Yeah.
he found Rascal, and he called us. And he's like, go and sign the lease now. And like we weren't ready at all. Like didn't have enough money. So at that point we scrambled. We like borrowed money, scrimped, saved everything just to get our deposit for the lease.
Just
And
didn't. How old were you then?
I was 25.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck,
it was
that's
in
still
20
like early, man,
Hectic,
to open
yeah.
your own venue.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's in hindsight,
Full on.
it's pretty insane. It was insane.
Yeah, that's
The
always how it
insanity
goes,
involved and the bravado and the ego.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm still here and we pulled it off. So far.
How'd it go at the start? What was
Oh
the,
man,
what
I
was the
don't
initial
remember
feeling?
much. Hey, it was Darden, Cosmo, and I 7 days a week, every single day. We opened stupidly on a Friday, like soft open on a Friday, and it was just fucking packed from the start.
Wow.
Yeah.
These people you know, huh?
Yeah, like family, friends, people who heard about it and wanted to come down and check it out, all that sort of stuff. So, for like a good, I reckon, I mean, I can't tell you much about the first year, to be honest. It was just like work.
So go.
And go, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
That's
it.
good. So you started really like
Yeah, it was good. And like Rascal, if you see it now compared to what it was before, it's grown into itself as we call it a 5-star dive bar.
Yeah.
and you're still in the same spot.
Still in the same spot, still everything. We just added shit to the wall.
Yeah. So what was your mentality? So you've gone from working with Swore House, and then you went into Rascal, and it became this thing. How'd you turn it into what it is? Like, you had a passion for things that you wanted it to be amazing. Like, you know, obviously not wanted to open a bad bar, right?
No,
But
of course.
You've got, it was voted one of the best bars or something? Rascal?
We've won a few
You've won
awards.
so many.
We've won
Yeah.
we've won best bar team. I think at the start, what it was is the identity was us three. Like we won best bar team the second year. Yeah,
amazing.
when we were open, right?
Second year,
in our
that's
second year.
massive. Yeah.
So like it was more of like Rascal became our identity, and people associate it with us. Like the 3 skulls are our logo. They're just our heads as skulls.
Yeah.
So like it became that alter ego identity. That's like and I think that's what attracted people to it. It was a fun, like a lot of the bars back then were fun and loose, but it was like more, I don't know,
Personal.
gun ho, less. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to recall how it was. and
No, I
don't
get you,
remember.
man. Like, you know, drinking is such a social experiment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you want to go to a bar. If you find that, like, vibe, you know, 3 boys vibing,
Yeah.
talking, like,
You want that,
It's a
right?
win-win.
You're going to go for
yeah.
a drink anyway. You
Ex-
may as well go
no.
somewhere where you're going to enjoy
That's
it.
like, oh, this is cool. Like, you
Yeah.
can sit back and watch, or you can
Yeah.
just get involved.
Yeah.
Like, there was, and like, we always had fucking massive like parties. We had friends rock star for us because at the start we had no money to pay people. So we were like, hey, can you help us out? And we'll pay you later and all that sort of stuff. So we had friends coming in to help us and shit like that.
I love
So
that.
it was like a constant party vibe. Like, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
awesome. Like,
Everyone working
but
together.
that again, yeah, exactly.
Did it, like, you know, like you saying work too much, did it get to a level where you're like, fuck, man, we need to slow down? Or
Absolutely.
yeah, like,
100%.
you just felt burnt out? Or
Yeah, I think I was quite young still at 25, turning 26 or whatever it is. Darden's the eldest. He is 8 years older than me. So he was in his 30s already. He was like 32 or whatever. So, I mean, I had a bit more oomph going at the start, but I'm a sprinter, not a marathon runner, so I did burn out.
Right.
Yeah, I think we all burnt out a couple of times.
What did that feel like for you? And what was
Man.
the process? Did it manifest itself in a physical kind of way, or?
Yeah, like constantly being. I mean, depression was. You get depressed. I mean, drinking so much as well. You know, like you got to deal with that. And being young, and having to work all the time, you don't really address it. And like, so you have to like, oh, why do I feel like this? And it's like, well, because you've been drinking the last 5 days. Maybe don't drink and have some water.
you have
And
to
then
learn
you
about
have
it.
to learn your balance for your mind as well
Water's
as your body.
So good.
Yeah, yeah, water's so good. Yeah, sometimes you'd be surprised, like,
You
oh
do
shit,
be
I was
needing water.
thirsty. Yeah, so it's like finding that balance, and at the start it was just like constant work, constant, partying, but we burnt out, and eventually we were like, all right, we need to structure ourselves and rostering and getting people in, to help us work, and even just holidays, things like
I
that.
feel like that's
Yeah.
always the way with business. You have to make the mistake first
Absolutely.
to learn from it, which is so shitty because when you do make the mistake, you're like,
oh fuck.
fuck.
Yeah, because it does
But then-
manifest itself in the business, with
Yeah.
shit service sometimes, or
Yeah.
you're not on the ball, but people have an expectation of you to be a certain way all the time, so you have to. Sometimes you have to sell it that way.
It's
And
pretty.
you s-
Yeah, sorry. You go.
You spoke about depression. Is mental health ongoing struggle for you, something like that, or?
No, I never personally. I mean, like, I shouldn't say it was. I never found it a struggle, but yeah, of course I did. Mental health in our industry is something that we should definitely touch on more, particularly because we're around substances like alcohol, but there's also illegal substances, obviously,
Of course.
in our industry, and people can spiral very, very easily. So it's like I always like try and. We always have open communication with all of our staff and with each other, and we want people to be as honest as they can. If they can't get through a shift, then we have a problem, and we need to get to the bottom of that. and we're here to help. It might not necessarily be them drinking and partying. It might be something at home or whatever. But a part of our role in hospitality and in society is to, like, we're hospitable, right? So we've got to look after each other, and that starts with your own team and your own self. So, like, yeah, I'm a lot more aware of the work, like the balance between everything these days, and it should be pushed more in our industry.
Do you ever get people like drunk on their shifts, for example?
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably very illegal. I must say we don't drink on shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Like when we were there, we might have been naughty and we were drinking on shift, but you figure out pretty fast that people are way more professional when they're sober, and you can be more efficient. You can serve more. You can do everything so much better. Trust me. As much of fun as you are having, you're not as good as you think you are when you're pissed. So
You do meet a lot of drunk people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's part of, we our job is sort of getting people to a level of socially
Happiness.
acceptable drunkenness, you know what I mean? So, yeah, like dealing with people who are drunk, I mean, our philosophy is you kill people with kindness. So people, if they want to be argumentative when they're drunk or whatever, you just like, yep, okay, and you smile and go, yeah, that's fine. I understand what you're saying. But, eventually you are the boss in this whole role. So I'm the one that tells you if you're going to have a drink or not.
Okay.
So you can argue and yell and kick and scream as much as you want, and I'll sit there and smile at you and go, okay, yeah.
Does
I
it
understand.
happen?
No,
Doesn't happen.
never.
Yeah.
Because we're all nice constantly.
Yeah.
People can't get angry at nice people.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
true.
Like, if you just be to the biggest Karen in the room, like, hi, how are you? Like, my name. I tell them my name. I introduce myself. Now I'm your friend.
Right.
You're in my venue. So you take that power away from them to kick off, and that's how you deal with all that sort of shit.
You told us that people resonated with the three of you boys in the venue, and that's why you feel like you got this like massive attraction. 10 years later, 10 years, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, how is that idea going? Consider, like, working 10 years in the same place is a bit challenging, right?
Absolutely.
Like, do people come to see you? Not you, like, the team?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about this whole, like, personalized brand? Yeah.
I think as being there for 10 years has afforded us that it is evolved into its own thing now. So people will come down and like recognize the skulls, but some people won't, and they just come down because they hear, like, we do live music 4 days of the week. There's not very many other dive bars in Sydney that do our style of service where you can get a perfectly made martini or you can get a shit tinny and a shot of cognac, These things is what separates us from, top tier bars and also like just a shit kicker pub. So like the idea of the bar and like us three, it's evolved past us now, which is thank God. Because
So you like that?
Yeah, I like it. It's become its own. Like, I can stand in my own venue. Not everyone will know that that's me as the skull up on the logo. You know what I mean? Which is fine. And we put into our staff, like, imagine this is your house, and tonight's service is the house party. Treat this like this is your house party. You know what I mean? So they're the ones that, like, they can express their personalities and their little quirks and things like that. So they manifest themselves through the venue itself as well.
Do you find that it's easier to find staff for your venue because you have the cloud or the rep or anything like that? Like, has it gotten easier over time?
I think Rascal is a really good starting point for people who want to bartend as a career, because we allow you to be, like, you can be as green as anything, but like I can teach you how to do all this shit. And we put people to work. Like, I train people. The last 3 people I've had to train up from nothing. But it's like I'm trying to identify people who want to be in this industry or would be a really good asset to the team. So yeah, having people, like, it's really easy, a lot easier for us compared to, say, Double Deuce, our other bar, which was voted number 1 cocktail or number 1 bar in New South Wales a few weeks ago for booth beer.
Congrats.
But, thank you.
Yeah, well done.
But
It's
like
amazing.
that style of service, see, that's another level up. So like, I would, there's that's a lot harder to get into. You need the experience to be able to do what we do over there.
I get that for sure.
But do you potentially have more longevity in Double Deuce because the people that are coming into it are more serious bartenders?
You probably would get more longevity out of the staff at Deuce because it is a career bar. Yeah, like I said, Rascal is great for if you're young and you're like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. I'm like, here, come work for
What
me.
do you think?
Come on, please.
I'll teach you all
Yeah.
the things.
What do you think is the difference between these like two brands? That one is like that serious and one is more chill. What makes that?
I think it reflects Darden, Cosmo, and I a lot, and like we've all come from like Darden used to do silver service in like Denmark and shit at like a 5-star hotel or 6-star hotel, whatever. Cosmo's been in the industry since he was like 15. Like he worked for his uncle at a Spanish club in Darling Harbour. I went to Hilton Hotel taught me systems from such like a massive company. You know what I mean? Even though I don't like any of that shit, there is skills involved in that, There is skills that you can upskill. So I think we've all come from a place of like, we were all born in Sydney. Cosmo and I were born in the same hospital. So we all grew up pretty poor. So we all grew up like with the same mentality, but we all went into this career coming from very professional points of view. And what we've done is sort of opened our venues that reflect all sides of us, both professionally and sort of like the style that we like. You know what I mean?
think that's something that we've found pretty congruent between all the people that we've had on the podcast. They're designing something that they want and that they love.
Yeah.
And then people also vibe with that, and that's what brings them in, and that's something that, that's how you create such a strong brand and a strong feeling of things. Because if you're just out there trying to copy what you think is going to work,
Man,
it's never
that's
going to
it.
fly.
It doesn't, man. People like Australians love tall poppy syndrome and cutting people down, right? I just don't understand who people like get all this money or have backers or fucking, their mum or dad gave them some cash or whatever. And they go and open some like hospital. I always tell people like, oh, I've got all this money. I'm going to open a bar. I'm like, don't do it. You don't know a thing about hospitality. Have you ever worked at like fucking a cafe?
I like the idea of it.
Yeah, they love the idea and this idea of glitz and glamour and having a gold tooth or whatever. But there's so much work that goes.
There is.
But there's so much
They
work.
see the gold tooth and they're like, fuck, man,
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be like that. I'm like, yeah, bro, but it took me like a lot to get here. I'm not rich. I'm like quite poor.
Yeah.
But I do this because of the love. And like, yeah, I find it quite like it's boring when people just like, I'll get a creative designer in to design your bar. Bro, it's your bar. You design it.
You design it.
And if you don't know how to do it, like, the technicalities, I'm sure a builder can help you. But man, like the best fun is designing your bar.
Yeah.
Designing the name, like the name. The name's all like, that's what some of the best. You get pissed, write a list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like those sorts of things, yeah. What was it?
But also some
Don't
peop-
open a bar if you're heaps rich and you don't have any creative genius.
Some people just do it for the money as well.
Well, that's the thing though.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at the numbers, there is not much. Like there is money in hospitality, but
Yeah.
like the margins of it from, it depends on where you're coming
They're
from.
getting squished.
They get squished out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the best places in Australia or in the world are the ones that have people who have opened it with heart, like from the soul, because you get the
always
best
the
service.
case.
Yeah.
Speaking of, money and finance, you know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff going on in the industry right now, you know what I mean? Closing downs, prices up, all this kind of stuff. Do you, I don't know how to place this question, but how do you feel about like the spending habits of people when it comes to like drinking? Like, is it more sensitive than like a normal restaurant or
With drinking
with
out.
like bars?
Yeah. I think a lot of bars now are incorporating aspects of food into their offering because you essentially have to now. I don't know many bars that wouldn't have like a snack or something to give. But with people coming and drinking, people like, I mean, you just take, if the snapshot is say 2022 to 2024, people, I believe we're in a recession in Australia. People are really poor. The cost of living is really affecting people's bottom line. So when people go out to spend their money, they are consciously choosing where and what they're spending it on, rather than going out and like, oh, we'll just go walk to there and then we'll walk to here.
I agree.
People are like, nah, I've got this much money to pay for rent, for petrol, fucking bills, whatever, and then I've got this left over that I can maybe go out with. I'm going to make sure that stretch, that $150 stretches, So I want to go if I'm going to go out to a bar, I'm going to, make sure that I'm getting a good drink, the service is good. You want your service and everything. People are getting more sensitive with how they spend their money. So yeah, and we've noticed it. Yeah, people are definitely picking and choosing where they go and what they do, and they're not going out to multiple places as much anymore.
Is there anything you guys like work around to make it more accessible, or?
We at Rascal, because it's a 5-star dive bar. We've had the shit tinny, which is just a generic lager, which we had since the start. So for 10 years at $6. So like we've never changed that price. So we offer price points in our menu items that are accessible to everyone. Like our signature cocktails are $25. It's just the nature of the beast in Sydney at the moment. That's the average price everywhere. Like a double shot is $25 if you get a double gin and tonic or whatever. So cocktails are $25. But we have a reduced menu, which is like not minis, but sort of like jazzed up signature classics. So like a lychee martini, which is $18, or you can get like a Hennessy and fresh apple, which is $15, all the way down to the shit tinny, which is $6. So yeah, that's that sort of stuff is like, and being smart with that, with your offering at the moment is really important.
It's good branding for you too.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
Because not only does it make it accessible for people to come to the bar with whatever money they have, but also the fact that you do it just as a thing is good for you, because it shows that you're giving back to the people or whatever. And I'm sure that's aligns with you. That's the reason that you would have done it in the first
100%.
place. Yeah.
Community is like, community is what feeds you.
Yeah.
If you don't get anyone
If you're
in
not
your
good to
bar,
your customers,
then they're not going to come back, and you don't have anything to fucking stand on.
Yeah.
I want to bring it back to the personal brand idea. Like, I see you do a lot of like collabs with brands.
Yeah.
How did you like build your brand, like personally? Like Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Was it something like that happened naturally, or was it something you worked on, you learn on?
No.
It's just,
I think the internet's silly. Like, I'm of that I'm a millennial, so like I remember not having a computer when I was a kid. Like the internet's not real, man. Like the things that you see on there, like it's a quarter of what's in real life. You know what I mean? So like people get really obsessed with like this image that you get on the internet is not real. Like
that's why you take the piss.
Yeah,
You do
that's the
take the
internet.
piss. You do be taking
I
the
do be
piss.
taking the piss, man. I do. Like people are like, "Oh, you work in bars?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, then they go on my Instagram, it's like memes and shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck
It's
about
so
that. Like,
random.
yeah.
Your meme stream is.
That's what happens. You smoke heaps of weed.
ridiculous.
you do get but you do get approached by bigger brands.
I do,
Like,
yeah.
why do you think so? Like, is it?
The lady told me today that I've got a pretty face for the camera. Nah, I reckon. I mean, I've been in the industry since I was like 18. I'm
Okay.
35 now, so I think longevity in the industry affords you that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Building rapport with people, like just being a nice person, usually gets you places as well. And if you can articulate some stream of thought, then yeah, just don't be a dick. That's
You're
it.
a character as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like if you were gonna, if you were gonna compare yourself to another average bar owner, they wouldn't have an Instagram following, but also that all comes with the accolades that you've gotten from your other bars.
It
which
all went hand in hand,
Yeah.
Like everything that I've done and everything that you see is growing all together.
Yeah. Do you think people like follow you because you're a bartender, or like?
I don't know. I think, if anything, like I list both my bars on my personal Instagram anyway. And like, if you come in to look for bar content on my page, you're gonna be sorely mistaken.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Very
But you
disappointing.
can go and look at my bars where all the bar
course.
shit happens.
Yeah.
I sort of try and like, I do blend all those that professional and everything like that. But I don't have a really conscious.
You don't think about
I
it.
don't think about it. I just do.
You're just being yourself.
Yeah.
Do you
I
still-
don't try and dictate it too much.
Do you still enjoy working in the bar like you used to, or how do you feel like that passion
Yeah.
shifted?
How's your relationship changed? With
It's a lot
your
more
work?
relaxed. Like, like anything, I suppose, when you start, you want to be professional. You want to
Yeah.
be the best. You
Yeah.
want to do it all properly, know everything. Like, not saying that I still want to know everything and try and do everything as best as I can. But I think as you get older, you get more relaxed with what you're doing and the approaches.
Do you like, but like, as we spoke before, a lot of people do things first 2 years amazing. First 5 years,
Yeah.
you're still exploring. Like 10 years, you know, it's like you pretty much settled a little bit. Do you feel like, do you get these like thoughts, like, is that it? What's next?
I'm pretty man. Like
Like,
when I
or
was,
how do you see
Yeah.
it all? Like,
I mean, I mean, yeah. I always wanted to be well off enough to be able to look at, like, you know, have a roof over my head and have nice
tooth.
food, a gold tooth, you know,
Yeah.
like things like that. I'm pretty content. I don't need to be rich. I'm already rich. You know, I'm rich in life. I'm rich in experience. I've traveled the world with this job. I've traveled the world just in general. So like my life experience and like what I have at the moment, like my wife, I got married a couple of years, like last year. Should remember that. Last year, I have my wife. You know, all the things that you know you are markers of success in life, other than the dollar sign in my bank account, is I can tick off, or I can say, yeah, I've done that sort of stuff. So I think, like, yeah. Other than that, man, I just want to be able to like sustain what I have and just be able to pay my rent, because I won't ever be able to own a house in Sydney.
yeah.
Are you staying hungry? Are you always kind of looking for like the next thing that you guys are gonna do, or are you like, how are you feeling about the whole thing?
I love that question because like people are like, it's such a capitalist mentality, which is because we all grew up in a capitalist society. Is that growth is like the sign of success, right? So you're gonna have another bar? I'm like, bro, you can't even fucking run the 3 that you have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people like think you have to get another one, and that's like, oh, you're successful.
Yeah.
A lot of these places like that have. I'm not calling out any names or anything.
Of course.
But you know, multiple bars and stuff, you start to thin your brand and how much control. Like it's this old Roman, you know, war on two fronts fucking sort of stuff. You know, if you stretch yourself too thin, you lose control of everything. And what we have currently now, and with the way the economic system is in the world at the moment, we're pretty content with the 2 bars that we have.
Beautiful.
And and like you
I
can
love that, man.
always
It's a
you
nice
can
way to look at it.
always improve in with what you have already.
Yeah.
Like we've done so much at Rascal.
Yeah, I kind of needed to hear that, man. Like, I don't know. I feel like I always see like I can do better. I can do more.
See, you said you see. Do you look? You're looking on the Instagram and like, oh, that person's doing that.
To
I
be
do
honest
that too,
with you,
bro.
it's one of them.
Yeah, I do it too. Like sometimes I see these things go off, and like, you know, my friends, like the boys at Caretaker's Cottage, like some of our best
Yeah,
mates.
yeah.
And they like fucking good on them. They've won so many awards and accolades.
That's that little one in the city, yeah.
Exactly,
In Melbourne.
yeah.
They're in the
yeah.
top
Yeah,
100
they're top 20, top 50.
in the world.
You know, in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like my best mates, you know. But like sometimes I sit there and go, fuck, man, like, and you get like this like, bout of jealousy, you know, like, but it's not a way to think. Like you're like, these are your friends, man. You're like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah,
You
you're
gotta be
right.
happy for
Fucking
them.
happy for him. And I'm
That's
like,
it.
that success shouldn't be based on what the other man has eaten on his plate.
Comparison is
Don't compare
the-
your backyard to his.
What's the
you know?
saying? Comparison is the killer of all joy. I
There you
think
go.
that's
Yeah,
what it is.
Sounds
that's so
beautiful.
true.
Yeah.
That's probably very true.
Yeah, and you know, it gets you sometimes to fucking get sick,
Yeah.
like me, to, you know, just fucking slow
reckons he's
down
sick
and,
right
you
now
know,
because he's
realize
been
that.
working too hard.
Hey man, like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I reckon burnout will it does manifest itself in getting sick and being run down.
Yeah.
Like, constandly tired, runny nose, fucking
Runny
a
nose for
cough.
the last 3 days.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
So
man.
you need, yeah, I reckon you need vitamin D, maybe a holiday. Go
Yeah.
to Bali,
Yeah,
Queensland.
if Tyrone let me go.
See how it goes. Gotta keep my leash on him.
Yeah.
Nice. Now I wanted to touch base on the drinking scene,
Yeah.
and you know, you work in bars. We lately have heard a lot of, like, you know, stories about, you know, abuse and drugs and shit that happened. And from what I understood, you worked with that group before. I don't want to talk particularly about that group,
Yeah.
but in general, like, working in this industry, like, do you sometimes feel like, fuck, it's a bit dark? Like,
I
or
mean,
was it any different back in the days than now?
when we started with the Whistle House, that, like, the idea of a party was like none of the sinister stuff, all that sort of stuff was never part of our culture.
Yeah.
I mean, there was probably I was never aware of it, but unlike any industry, I think there is always a sinister side to it.
Yeah.
Like you can go in, you could probably delve into the finance industry. Look at the fossil fuel industry. They're fucking
Yeah.
killing the world.
Yeah.
Like there's sinister sides to everything, and you'll find something if you go looking for it, sort of stuff. And rightly so, it should be called out and it should be stamped out properly. Properly. Do I see it anymore? Am I part of that sort of stuff? No. I very young bartenders in my care. There's a no drinking policy. There's no drug policy. I let smoke weed because it's legal. Well, I mean, not legal. You can get it off the doctor, which I do. But yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I've not seen much of that sort of thing that's happened. In my circles anyway. I mean, I just go to my bars. All I do is work.
That's the beauty of running your own business.
Well, yeah,
you
I
can
have
create
control.
the culture.
Yeah,
you
I create the culture.
that's there.
I control. I create the universe that you're stepping into, and I want it to be safe for everybody. I don't care fucking who you are. You walk into my bars, you should feel safe in there. And that's important.
Outside of work, what else do you do for your mindfulness to keep your feet on the ground?
I play basketball once a week. I go to the gym 4 days of the week. During summer, I like going to the beach and bodyboarding. Read. Actually, like, it might sound really depressing, but I read a lot of political stuff.
You
Get
do.
really
You are a
involved
bit
that.
in politics,
Yeah.
I notice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the inner west, man. I was one of 6 white dudes that went to my school, so I know what's up.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, so I just like those things. I mean, I have ADHD, so I need to go to the gym often and get the energy out, because otherwise it'll manifest.
Yeah, you're fidgety.
Yeah, big time. Man.
Me too.
Yeah.
What's next for Charlie and
Me? Man, I'm
yeah,
gonna
the
go home and
boys?
go to
Charlie
work.
and the boys.
Charlie and the boys. We need to. We'll get through this year. Obviously, with everything that's going on in our industry, but also in the wider world. We just put our heads down and our bums up, essentially, and go to work. That's what's happening for the next foreseeable, to be honest.
Nice.
Who knows? People keep saying, this is the year, this is going to be better, and then each year has gotten worse.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully 2024 gives us some sort of hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you opened the Double Deuce.
Yep.
That's more of a premium
It's a cocktail
type of bar.
lounge.
It's a cocktail
Yeah.
lounge. And you won the accolade. You got your accolades now. Got the
We-
best
we-
bar
Best bar
in Australia.
in Boothby, which is a publication that you can check out. In New South Wales, we won
Yeah.
best bar. We've won best small bar in Australia, and best cocktail bar in
Nice.
Australia. Yeah.
How did it feel when you got there? What did that feel like when you won those awards? Was it something you were always aiming for, or?
Yeah, I mean, like, awards, we always say, like, it's a great bonus on top of the hard work that we've always put into what we do every service. But yeah, especially awards that are voted for by your peers, I think they're more important than anything.
And that one was voted by your
But
peers.
all of those are pretty much
That's
voted
beautiful.
for by your peers. So, yeah, having recognition by other professionals in your industry is, like, really rewarding. And it's good for team morale.
And just touching back on your political views, so I'm not actually that familiar with your political views, how strong they are, but I noticed that you do put up some political stuff on your Instagram and everything like that. How do you feel about that transparency and, I guess cancel culture is real and all that kind of stuff? You just don't give a fuck?
Fuck, bro, I told you before, the internet's fucking dumb, bro. Cancel me on the internet, I don't give a shit. For standing up for oppression, because you won't find much on my Instagram that will lead to me being a Donald Trump supporter or, Scott Morrison supporter.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But, man, I like I said, I can also articulate myself politically through, if people want to, like, come for me.
Other people want to go you.
No one does, though. That's the other thing. Like, no one has. If
Calling
you want to
out.
come now. But I can articulate myself well enough that I know how to defend myself.
Yeah.
Against, that, like, if you want to get into a political discussion with me, I could.
You're confident. You're passionate about
enough.
it.
Yeah.
But do
And
you
like-
feel like criticized or did
Nah, never.
Yeah?
Never, man. I
That's
don't. And
good.
also, don't give a shit. Come on,
Nice.
criticize me. I don't care. Fuck,
Yeah.
people are dying. You take time out of your day to criticize me because I support not killing them.
Yeah.
Go for it. Or like
Doesn't make sense.
the fossil fuel companies selling off all of our gas to the rest of the world. While we could be as rich as the United Arab Emirates. Like,
Yeah.
how crazy is that?
Yeah. Crazy.
We're getting gypped. Man, how much is your fucking energy bill the other week? Big.
A lot. Yeah. Heaps.
Should be fucking free.
Yeah. Could
You know what I
be,
mean? So
yeah.
shit like that. Like I stand with the little man.
With the community,
100%.
with the poor.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I love that, man.
That's it. I grew up, I went to Catholic school for 13 years, so it instilled something good in me.
Yeah, right.
Nothing bad.
Yeah. Look, I
Glad you got that.
I honestly
right.
appreciate that, man. Like, coming from a poor background and just making it all up on your own, you know what I mean? I definitely think you get to see things, in a from a different perspective, you
absolutely.
know what I mean? Like,
Growing up poor, your parents were role models for you or no?
Yeah, my parents separated when I was about 4. But yeah, my mum and dad, they put food on the table. They looked, they loved me. They weren't like, my mum give me a fucking hiding when I needed to, but
Probably deserved it.
yeah, probably, probably. But yeah, like my mum and dad loved me, so
Beautiful.
it wasn't anything, from that, like from a broken home, I wouldn't
Yeah,
say,
no,
but
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
how
100%.
is how is Sydney like? How is Sydney's business like nightlife like? Is it buzzing? Is it changing?
It's changing. The city itself is like it's twilight zone at the moment. It's really weird. It's like a roller coaster with service. You don't know what day is going to be busy. A lot of people don't go back to work as much anymore, which is into the city. So the dynamic of the city has changed. Like you'd usually on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock get 50 people roll through the door. But that just doesn't happen anymore because there's the people in the offices. What day would you choose not to come into work? Friday.
Friday.
So you don't get that stuff no more.
Damn.
Yeah, so the dynamic of the city's changed, and unfortunately, the rates and the rents haven't with it.
Yeah.
You know,
If
'cause
anything, they've increased.
it's funny
If
about
anything.
property developers and fucking
Seems to be the
yeah, people who own all
MO.
the buildings and stuff. It's crazy. But yeah, so the dynamic of the city has definitely changed a lot. I suppose being where we, being in the places we've been for long enough, we do have a name, so we're not really lost on people. But yeah, it's definitely, you can tell it's down. Things are down in the city. People stay in their suburbs a lot more as well. There's a lot more
So man, let's just talk about fucking Uber. It's so expensive. Like if you're from a suburb, you want to go for a drink.
it's crazy. Yeah.
It's like $100 Uber. I don't know about Sydney, but here
Yeah,
is-
you can
it's-
get up
It's
there.
fire.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, they're trying to make it more accessible, like the trams and the metro
yeah.
through the city, and the bike lanes even. Like, there's so many more bike lanes here, and I suppose having a flat gridded system in Melbourne's a lot easier.
when we had COVID, I think because a lot of people were riding their bikes, they deleted lanes and added
Or more.
bike lanes.
Yeah.
Bigger
Ah,
ones.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Look, I
it
think
became a whole thing.
that shit's healthy. Ride a bike, man. That's way better for you. But but yeah, the city itself the dynamic has definitely changed.
Is your summer like better than winter or?
No, because we're in basements. I mean, Deuce is good either way. But Rascal tends to get busier in winters because
Okay.
it's like cozy and it's in a basement. It's dark.
Something to do.
Yeah, summer you get if it's 30 degrees outside, the sun doesn't go down till 8 o'clock. Where are you gonna be? You're gonna probably be
Outside,
outside.
yeah.
You're not gonna go down to the basement at 4 o'clock
Right.
in the afternoon.
Sure,
yeah,
Like I'll be there, but you don't have to be. But yeah, so you see a different sort of the trade is a lot more different winter to summer.
But then you get days like Mardi Gras and all
It's
that.
insane.
Is it you look forward for that?
It's Mardi
Yeah.
Gras is awesome because the floats or where they start the floats is like right near our bar. It's like across the road.
Yeah.
So you get like all the revelers or the people on the floats come in before they kick it off.
And
it's
obviously the whole
Colourful
like
time.
yeah, it's great.
the whole
Ramblin
week
Rascal.
is probably like
Yeah, build up throughout the week. You get like a lot of internationals. Obviously, I think there's like 200,000 people descend on Sydney for that
Man,
weekend.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
it's
crazy.
good.
Yeah.
And then a lot more is now being dictated as to what's happening in Sydney will let us know how busy some of the bars will be.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you get gigs, at the Metro, which is around the corner, or the Horden Pavilion, or what's the other one? The Domain. Like the Arctic Monkeys played a few years back.
yeah,
Yeah.
They played at the Domain, and we were fucking chockers.
just
Yeah.
praise.
yeah, just pre-drinks, and then disappeared when the gig started, and then
And then
chockers again
It
up.
was full
After.
hours
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
Yeah.
What time do you guys close?
2 a.m.
2. Is it right that Sydney have all these like extra restrictions on bars, or
No,
is that
that was during the lockout law period, which was between 2014 and 2017. I think. For
and
like
what
3
was that
years.
period?
There was there was some violence up in the Cross.
It's like a king hit epidemic
King
or something,
hit,
wasn't it? Yeah.
it wasn't an epidemic. There was definitely violence. Unfortunately, some kids lost their lives
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
The state government, being at the time liberal and also run by far right Christians, which they still are, decided that it'd be just like, you know, like a temperance movement, and like bars were the problem. Some were, not all of us, and everything should just be sort of, you know, like prohibition, sort of, you know, restricted. So yeah,
Make it illegal.
Yeah, everything.
usually
Yeah, so you weren't allowed
way
to
they do
trade
it.
after midnight. If you traded after midnight, you weren't allowed to have shots. You had to have things in plastic. There was all these fucking rules.
Yeah.
Essentially, just slapping the onus on the bars and the bar owners to take ownership for the violence that was happening in the streets.
It doesn't make sense.
Does not make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Like,
Well, if you dig a bit deeper, a lot of when that happened, King's Cross obviously being the bohemian area that it was, with strip clubs and nightclubs and bars and restaurants, as soon as that all came into effect, all those places had to close up because that was their bread and butter. Was
Of
getting
course.
people there all night. Lo and behold, property developers decided, oh look, all this free real estate in
We
a
could
prime
buy
position
it.
in Sydney. Do you
Oh.
reckon, you know, some of those liberal people that signed off on that probably got some kickbacks for that?
yeah.
Definitely.
Potentially.
Of course they
So
did.
that changed the dynamic of like that area, but also the rest of the city.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a testing time, but we lobbied for 3 years. 3 years, I reckon. And
Was there any protest or?
yeah, we protest, not as much as you guys did when I think they tried to do it down here at one point. But there was protests. There was we all rode in as like businesses, like, you know, we are bars, but we're also businesses that pay tax and shit. Like, what the fuck?
We need
Yeah.
money. Don't
Yeah,
fuck
like
with
you
it.
just pretty much we put down this business plan and you just ripped it out from underneath all this.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. So there was a lot of consultation back and forth, and we got rid of it. There's no lockout law restrictions anymore. You can get a shot after midnight.
Because they didn't help you with anything. They just did the rules.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
figure it out on
They
your
love
own.
that shit.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That would have worked out.
Yeah, I mean, in
Makes
the
sense.
end, it just delayed us a little bit more, and you know, we probably could have been billionaires by now. No,
If it wasn't for the
it wasn't
lockout
for the
laws.
lockout laws.
Could have had
Oh, 2 gold teeth, yeah.
Nice. So, how do you come up with your like drinks and like? How do you come up with menus? Where do you draw your
Yeah, you're
inspiration
the first
from?
bar person we've had.
Oh,
on,
yeah.
Is
on
it
the
like a
podcast.
travel?
So I'd
Is
love
it
to know. Very
Yeah.
interested.
reading?
I mean, reading a lot at the start. When we opened Rascal, so like at Double Deuce now, let's start from the start. At Rascal, when we opened, obviously coming from Baxter, which is whiskey based, we were like, what are we going to do? Let's do cognac, because no one was doing cognac. So we sort of like positioned ourselves as this like cognac, you know, heavy, but we did everything. Like we had like whiskeys and everything, but it was like cognac heavy, like cognac shots, cognac and fresh apple, all that sort of stuff. So our signature list for like 6 years, all the signatures that we did, which we did 4 menu changes per year, 6 cocktails per menu, but they were all cognac based. Now people forget that a lot of the best classic cocktails are all cognac based or gin based, I believe. If you look back in the 20s and 30s, heaps of cognac was being used. People don't use cognac anymore.
Yeah.
They think it's a really expensive.
True, I have not
True.
seen. I
Yeah.
have not even heard of a cocktail with
Sazerac.
cognac in it. for ages.
Vucare, sidecar. See, I can just rattle them off for you. but yeah, so that was sort of like a little
bartender or something.
Yeah, I know,
Get
right?
some time.
But that was like, so yeah, we focused on cognac as our signatures for the cocktail list, and that gave us a scope for that.
Cool point of difference.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've evolved a little bit now because I mean it's 10 years, and
Yeah.
I can only think of so many. But at Double Deuce, the level of cocktailmanship, coctology,
Mixology.
yeah, fuck that word, man.
I know you didn't want to drop
Yeah, I
it.
know.
but had
I like
to
saying
slot it in.
coctology.
Yeah.
Quality.
Proctology's fun.
The people that we've hired there,
They're masters of coctology.
they are masters of coctology. By the time that we'd opened Deuce, also mixology. That's with me putting up the hands like this.
Yeah.
Had evolved. There's a plethora of books out there you can read. Obviously, it could be, incorporated where you can. So down there, we incorporate a lot of there's a lot of prep involved, like 2 days worth of prep at some point. So the people we've hired, what I'm trying to say is, people we hired down there, like Alicia, who's now a general manager, she's the one that comes up with all the fantastical ideas.
How often do you change your menus?
At Rascal, we do it two times a year. So we do autumn winter menu, and then a spring summer, which we just released.
Yeah.
And then at Deuce, we have like a Deuce Classics, which we've made. So like Ollie, who used to work for us, he came up with a discretionary. Now that's for us. It's going to remain on the menu forever because it's an absolute banger. Should be a modern classic. So there's like a list of cocktails that we have that will always stay there, and we change, like we swap in and out depending on how popular it is. So at the moment, Alicia has a drink on the menu called Two in the Pink, and it's a banger as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is that a Double Deuce?
that's a Double Deuce.
So Double Deuce is still quite playful.
Yeah,
Still
oh
very
yeah,
playful.
absolutely. 70s porn chic. That's
Yeah.
what that's how we describe it. So yeah, with the drinks down there, we want them to be 70s and like, but we want to elevate them to a
Yeah.
level where it's like, oh fuck, this is actually a
Well,
really
70s was a bit like of an opulent kind of time.
yeah, but like the
hedonistic vibe.
drinks were like everything was really colourful.
Yeah.
Where now we employ a lot more science into stuff and balance into shit. It's not just sugary, colourful
Right.
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we swap out maybe 4 drinks every time we change the menu and put in four or 5 more, and we rotate through specials and things like that. There's always something going on down
It's
at
not
Deuce.
easy to hit the right drink, is it?
Yeah, you gotta have a variety, but also it's costs as well. Like the costs are a big thing.
Would you like to start your cocktail, not cocktail, like drink brand or like
No.
no? No.
Nah, man, I don't think there's already enough. Like,
The
there's so many
Lehmann.
more good bartenders out there that should be doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You're a purist.
Yeah, look,
Love
I'm here to
the
serve
bar,
you.
you do the thing.
Yeah, I do the
Yeah.
thing.
I'm here
Yeah,
to
yeah,
serve
I'm a
you.
pretty face. You know?
You're the sexy guy at the
That's
bar.
it. That's it.
Charlie, you said when you opened your first bar, it was more of like people telling people, friend coming, trying, you know what I mean? It was just like this old classic way to
Yeah.
go to places. With this like age now, the social media, the marketing, all that kind of stuff, do you feel like that still works, or do you feel like you really have to have marketing and like social media and push that to be able to stand out and be successful?
I mean, I think it just depends on who you are and the brand. Like, if you're already an established, like, well-known brand, you might not need the social media and stuff. Also, it depends on your position in your community. Like, if you say you've lived here in Collingwood for 50 years, and you open up a t-shirt shop, and you've known everyone in the area for 50 years, you'd be pretty busy.
You would, yeah.
So like, it's all context, man. I don't know. Social media, I don't like. Again, I don't take it seriously.
What?
Yeah, we
even
push
for
it-
your business?
We push shit through. Like, yeah, we put stuff up for the business, of course. Do I think that my whole business rides on it? No. People are going to come through anyway who've probably never seen our Instagram and will smash drinks and talk about it on the internet. That's probably not on Instagram. Like, there's the whole internet thing and the focus on the internet. Again, it's not real, man. Like, it's the drink that I serve you is real. The taste,
It's
the
not
smell
real,
is
but it's also like important.
Oh
like,
yeah, no, don't get me wrong. There's
Yeah.
a whole industry that has been created to support, social media marketing.
It's our industry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's important.
Yeah,
There
like
are businesses that fucking thrive on it. Is it right for me though?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I think there's different levels
Yeah.
to it, right?
Absolutely.
If you can have a shit product and have amazing marketing,
Yep.
and
And it'll
probably
work.
you won't sell as much as if you had a good product.
Yeah, exactly.
But it'll work.
Yeah.
You can have an amazing product and shit marketing, and you'll still make money because it's an amazing
It's a- yeah.
product. And you get that more word of mouth, which is probably something that happened with you definitely originally, right? I guess 10 years ago social media would never have been anywhere near as big as it is
Not as
now.
big as it is now. Instagram was around. Oh, fuck, man, I must
Yeah.
be old.
10
but
years,
like we wrote,
I would say 10 years Instagram was around, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it was around
but
definitely.
we
Yeah.
also had we were afforded
But
the
not
opportunity.
like
of
to ride
course,
the
yeah.
coattails of Swillhouse at the time as well, because
Oh.
they were
So you had the clout.
clout
coming
as
from
well.
us,
Yeah, so
from
that sort of
Schoolhouse.
that sort of worked in our favor. But yeah, no, like the world isn't black and white. There is space for marketing of your business on social media.
I think
100%.
our favorite people to work with will be people like you, who was always, it's like you've got a good brand and you're doing all the things right, and people are coming to you from word of mouth. You've got a good base, and then we can just help you add that few thousand extra, like, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month to the business to...
And it's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? Like,
Nah, man, that's
it's
a good 30, 40 grand. That's pretty good.
no, like, even from your perspective, it's like reaching new people is pretty cool.
Hard.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's what social media can do.
100%.
Just fasten the process of like reaching out to new people. You know what I mean?
Man, I like, to be honest, I'm not the most social media savvy person. I know how to post stuff. I know how to put up fucking memes and stuff. But like your analytics, But your analytics and stuff, like people are like, oh, you know, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, yep.
It doesn't
So like, I don't even utilize the tool to what it could be used to, like the level it could be used to, which is perfect for you guys because you'd be like, come straight in, like,
We're nerds.
Yeah.
done. Exactly. And I'd be like,
You're like,
that's
oh,
how
great.
it works.
Yeah.
Except I have no money, so I can't pay you.
It's pretty cool, man. Like, you know, we know this guy. He have a good product. He's been open for almost a year. Very good location, but he's not getting attraction. Tried a few things, not getting attraction, and then bit of influencers was a bit slow, but then one of these videos went viral,
Yeah, right.
and then he started to get like 30, 40, 50 bookings.
Yeah.
It's like,
My only issue with that
Yeah.
is that sometimes you get the people in, like particularly at Double Deuce, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
The aesthetic of Double Deuce is, I don't know if you've seen it, jump on the Instagram, have a look, or online, whatever. It's pretty fucking beautiful. But also the drinks are quite well curated and they're quite beautiful to take photos of. Now, sometimes you get those TikTok people that come in.
Yeah.
And they're quite...
Oh, the TikTokers.
TikTok people. I
TikTok.
sound really old. Bloody TikTok people. No, but you get like, you know, the amateur influence.
yeah.
And they buy 2 drinks, they take up a spot at the bar, and it's only a small bar, and they sit there for 3 hours with 2 drinks
Taking
and
Taking
taking photos.
photos.
Not even probably tasting it half the fucking time.
Right.
That, to me, as a purist,
How
mentality purist is infuriating. Like, we've created this drink.
sure.
It might have taken 2 days to make that, to put it in your hand in 30 seconds for you to take photos for 2 hours and not touch it.
How do you
because-
deal with like those
Fucking
situations?
let them do it. What am I going to do? I'm not going to tell someone, like, hey, you can't do that. Just drink it.
If there's anyone that would, though.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Talking about Chugga from
Oh, very good.
We got the boys the other day from my restaurant, and he's like, sometimes he's just gotta tell him to fuck off.
Look,
But yeah,
sometimes yes.
I think it's because, and anyone in hospitality, I think, would agree with this, that's passionate about it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, just get them through, you know, they take, it's business is business. But if you really care about your craft, the way that people are going to enjoy it the most is if they're completely present. Now, I don't know if anyone out there that's listening or watching this has ever thought to themselves when they've just had a big night on their phone at the dinner table, they're like, fuck, best night of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their best night of their life has come from, they don't even think about the phone. You've got like 20 missed calls, but you're just so invested in like
It's a
whatever the fuck you're
disaster.
doing.
Definitely, I kick on like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, it's. I mean, I'm not going to tell someone off if they're going to take photos of their fucking their
you
drink
couldn't.
or their
That's
food. I'm like, you've
ridiculous.
paid for it. It's your fucking drink.
Of
Yeah,
course.
and as long as they're
as soon
happy.
as they paid for it, it's completely up to you. As soon as you're happy, it's more the sitting there and wasting a space that someone else could have.
Yeah, it
or
becomes a
I mean, why am I bitching about these people fucking taking photos? Good, take
Let
more
them go.
photos. Let them go.
Let them go.
Let them post. They're
Yeah.
doing the work for me, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
How do you
But,
deal with Google reviews?
Some I don't. Most of the time, I don't give a shit. Some are just like blatant. Like we caught 2 young girls out for setting like coasters on fire or something. Then they got on Google review and like said that, you know, we right, like they pretty much
love
made
these
up a
ones.
lie, like,
These ones
oh,
are
the
the best
manager was a
ones.
bitch and she told us to fuck off and blah blah blah. Anyway, I was like, Psh, you're not getting away with this.
Yeah.
I was like, Alicia, go on CCTV, pull them up, film it, send it to me.
Call them out.
I
What
called
the
him out. I was
Gotta be
like,
done.
who are these 2 people? And then I screenshotted their Google reviews too. And I was like, who are these 2 people? Here's the evidence of you burning shit in my venue. You disrespected us. You disrespected my staff. Like, pretty much fuck you.
You gotta
100%.
stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Like,
Because
you know what I
it's
mean?
not like some businesses do rely on Google reviews for their clout and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck you, you privileged little bitches.
It's the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes,
with it a lot.
honestly, you gotta stand up for yourself. Like, people do criticize you, and like, a lot of the time you'll be like, "Fuck it, is it worth it to reply?" You know what I mean? But sometimes if you don't reply, they'll take it as they're right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then they can treat someone else like that.
100%.
Like there are, definitely. Sometimes I read something, I'm like, oh, someone had a bad experience with like a security guard or fucking blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, well I'll follow that up. Usually I'll write, hi, could you please let us know more details and put my email address there.
Yeah.
Most of the time these people won't follow up.
They never do.
They never do.
They never follow up. We do it for our clients too. And it's always they write something ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
like something completely made
It
up.
was too dark in the restaurant. 1 star. What the
One
fuck is
star?
that? What does that even mean? Do you know what I
Idiots, man.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
see,
can
that's...
that? Anyway, and then it's like, please email us, da 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 da, and then they don't email, but the Google review's still there.
Stay
And people are
there,
gonna read it, and it's gonna lower their rating, and it's just like,
Yeah.
who like the time as well to go and write it?
Right.
Like, what's going on?
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, so I try not to dwell on those things too much. All the 5-star reviews you get can speak for themselves.
yeah, of course.
I got a really interesting question, and I'm really interested to hear your answer about it.
Getting chills.
It's the fantasy
yeah.
question.
Fantasy question.
If if time and place wasn't a thing, who would you like to do a collab with, dead, alive? Band, chef, bartender,
It can be anything. It can
Any-
be brand. It can be anything.
Fuck.
musician.
That's massive.
Yeah.
I reckon if it was at Rascal, because we do live music, we've already hung out with Dave Grohl.
So cool.
I
I saw that. I saw that when you in like the research that you did on you, and I was like,
Fuck. Yeah, no, that was good. I reckon, like, dead or alive, I probably want the Rolling Stones to play.
sick.
Fuck.
Because there's always this, if you go on YouTube, look up Muddy Waters featuring the Rolling Stones it's at Muddy Waters' club in Chicago. The Stones just get off stage, like a fucking giant stadium stage. Limo, straight to Muddy Waters' club. Roll in hot champagne bottles. They're probably high as kites as well.
Cheering
They
up.
roll in and like Muddy Waters calls them out on like he's on stage. He's like, and now like Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
And like they're like if you know the Rolling Stones, they fucking love the blues.
Yeah.
Muddy Waters is a god.
Yeah.
And like they're bashful. They're sitting in the crowd like, oh, and then he calls them out again. So they all get up on stage. Just go and look on YouTube, and they play
Coolest thing.
"Baby Please Don't Go."
Wow.
Or they play a few songs actually, but
That's
that's the best
amazing.
one. And I'm like, that's what I want at Ramblin Rascal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you had moments like that?
Well, we've had bands like real pull up and like rip in. Like we got one of the Wiggles playing tomorrow,
Sick.
so we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
What's that? What's he gonna play?
Anthony Wiggle, the Blue Wiggle.
Yeah.
He has a band called The Unusual Suspects.
Cool.
I've never actually seen any of the music, so I'm going to be surprised. I like to have a surprise for tomorrow.
Live music is cool, man. You don't see it around, but
Well, man,
For
music
sure.
is
When
like
they do it
the
the right way.
universal language. Everyone
is.
knows music.
100%.
Unless you're deaf, which is sorry to my disabled people. You're deaf. Idiot. Rhythm,
Yeah.
vibration. People
Yeah.
get that, and you get rhythm and vibration through music. So
You've kind of got like a heavy metal kind of aesthetic at Ramblin Rascal.
Man,
yeah? Or
it's-
kind of like a vibe.
it's
That's what I
a-
caught from the IG.
yeah, it's sort of like an ADHD brain.
Yeah.
Everything in there is like something to look at. It's
Yeah.
like it's rock and roll, it's blues, it's
Yeah.
funk, it's fucking everything.
Where'd you draw the inspiration from? That's just what you're into?
Yeah, like a lot of if you come in, a lot of them are things that we've collected over the years from like friends and stuff. We've got mates boxing gloves put up. We've got MF Doom mask behind the bar.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Goat.
I went to the WWE with one of my mates, Lewis Jaffrey, and I bought like a WWE belt. So there's a WWE belt behind there.
That's sick.
Man, there's like stories to a lot of the stuff that you see
Yeah.
behind the bar.
It's like a real bar.
Yeah.
That's how you design a
100%.
bar.
It's a real bar.
Yeah, it's a real bar. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not like someone, a creative, designer, creative director has come in and gone, oh, let's do this, you put that there, go buy that from there, and put like, man, that you just bought all that shit.
Yeah.
You didn't work hard for that, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So like that's where the soul comes from. You need
Yeah.
soul.
Nice. On that note, we don't want him to miss his flight.
Yeah, thank you, boys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Really
Mate,
appreciate
thank you
it.
for having me. Much appreciated.
Dude, it was awesome.
And we'll see you maybe in Sydney. Come for a
Yeah,
drink.
come through. I'll
Come for a
definitely be there.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Thanks, boys.
Beautiful.
Thanks,
Appreciate you.
Charlie. Absolutely.
Ledge.
Thank
you. Cheers.
Mate, thank you as well.